Welcome back to the K Word. Wow, what a week it's been. We've had more snow, only a little, but we came out of the minus 28 and we're sort of sitting up around the 10, minus 10, minus 11. It's kind of surprising exactly how much of a difference that actually makes. I've had some questions sent to me, like I suggested at the end of the vlog. Let's start on some of them. One of the first questions that I want to have a talk about is, what food from your home country do you miss the most? There's actually plenty, and I'm not sure I could actually say one. So what I'll do is I'll give you my favorite candy, because that one's a little obvious to those people that know me. I'm totally into pineapple lumps. Now, those are the only things that you can buy in New Zealand. So I think those Aussies might be able to get them, but they just don't taste the same. So pineapple lumps would have to be one. It's a candy. So the inside is chewy and the outside's covered in chocolate. One of my favorite things that I like to do with them is put them in the freezer. And that just makes them just that little bit harder to eat, and therefore you get to savor it a little bit more. Probably the food that I miss the most, and I think it's more of an experience rather than the food. I like having fish and chips on the beach with watties and a drink. And I think it's the company that you keep while you're doing it. So watties, for all you people out there, is actually just tomato sauce, but we use it by its brand name. What can I not travel without? That one's quite a difficult one. Probably more recently, the things that I actually find that more difficult to travel without, that would be my laptop and my phone. I find that I take photos everywhere. Like, how many photos have you taken? That one's a little bit scary. I think I'm sitting on about 25,000 that are sitting in my iCloud. Yeah, and that's probably only in the last nearly 8 years I've taken 25,000 photos. What has surprised you about yourself? I think after this week, my resilience, my ability to bounce back. I've been a little comfortable in the UAE for the last 5 years. You know, it's quite westernized, if you know what I mean. So it's not that difficult to live in as long as you're respectful. As we've talked about in previous blogs, I found it quite easy to actually be there. I think the challenge for me and the perseverance that I've actually learned is coming to a country like Kazakhstan, where English is the minority. You've actually got to assimilate into the culture, and that means you've actually got to learn some language. Why did you come to this place? Kazakhstan. I guess one of the key reasons that I flipped from the desert to the steppe is the climate. Part of it is purely challenge and health related. I'm enjoying at the moment being able to go outside, enjoy the fresh air. It may be chilly, but it's still fresh and it's beautiful to breathe. I'm enjoying not having to hide inside because of the sand being up. I've had a little experience this week. Now, I was pre-warned about Kazakhstan, especially Astana, that the smog, the pollution levels in Astana when there's no wind are definitely not healthy. I have an air quality meter on my phone. Kind of went a little bit mental, and Kazakhstan, well, predominantly Astana, Nur Sultan on Monday, got to 656. So the phone was registering the color as being black. It's a bit hard to breathe. It was coming in the windows and it was pretty stinky. So we actually didn't send the children outside. We kept them in because it's not that healthy. Do you think you'll stay friends with the people you've met? I do. I think that when you're on the international circuit, such as I am, and there's quite a few other teachers that are on the international circuit, you build a different kind of friendship because you actually have something in common. And that commonality is you're in another country, it's your home, and you've actually got to make friends. Window aisle seat. This one's debatable. I'm not good traveling long distance. I have a very short tolerance level. Depending on the length of the flight, shorter they are, more of a window seat girl because I just don't get up. If it's longer, I kind of prefer the aisle only because I'm tall. So depending on the airline, I struggle to be able to stretch my legs out without banging into the seat in front of me. And definitely, if that person's reclining, which is their right, don't get me wrong, it makes it a little bit more difficult for me on the aeroplane. So long distance, I really like the aisle seat. It allows me to get up and down and move and stretch out into the aisle. And one of the other questions that I think is quite funny is like, how many gadgets you're carrying and what is your favorite one? Because of starting up the channel, I currently have a few gadgets now. So one of my favorites, and I actually use my other stand today so that I could actually show you my gadget. So this is my gimbal. Okay, it has a stand, but it also can be put onto a tripod. The gimbal, the phone sits in here. Now it can go with any phone as long as it can Bluetooth. So this is the DJI Osmo Mobile 3. I purchased this in the UAE, had a little play with it. You've seen some of the shots in a few of the vlogs that I've done, especially the first one. More recently, I've used it for tracking. So when I've moved around, things like that, this has tracked me. I've really enjoyed getting to know my gimbal. Now, I don't know it completely, and I need to be spending a little bit more time really pushing my gimbal to the nth degree. It's one of my favorite gadgets, although I thought I would show you this. If you recall the scooter video, and I did acknowledge it at the time, attaching my GoPro-like camera to my scooter caused a whole lot of vibration. I purchased the chest strap. The best part about it, and I'll insert it into the video. This is my walk to school, and I actually attached my camera to myself using this. All I had to do was clip it in, and off I went. So you'll see the video now of how that went. I'm kind of pleased. I need to learn how to do what we call the crab walk, which is heel toe, so that you don't get the bounce. So I'm getting a little bit better at it. It's a bit hard for the chest strap to go on when you're wearing the thick winter jackets. What is the best piece of travel advice you've ever received? So I've learnt to pack light. I've learnt to slimline what I take. And if I look at something and I go, I'm not going to wear that, or I might need that, I actually don't take it. What's the worst piece of travel advice? I don't know that I've actually ever had the worst piece of travel advice. I guess as you travel a little bit more, you pick and choose what you listen to. I'm very clear that when I'm going through airports, I want as minimal stuff with me because it's like, who can be bothered with a hassle? So that's kind of like where I'm going with that one. Probably one of my top travel tips that I think I would do. And that's if you're going to travel with somebody else, make sure that they're compatible. I would pick and choose and find someone that actually travels kind of similar to you. Or make sure you've got an agreement to toodle off. If you don't want to go somewhere and they do, that it's quite okay to negotiate and say, cool, you go that way, I'm going to go this way, we'll meet up here for dinner or lunch or something like that. Probably one of my top tips, keep it simple. Listen to people's advice who have already been there. They're the experts. One of the things that to do with my gadgets, like I am a bit of a techie person, I do enjoy having the technology that communicates with each other and that actually makes it really easy. One of the things that I've been doing a whole lot of research on, and that if I was to win the lottery, this is what I would probably go and buy. At the moment, I'm eyeing up a drone. I'm definitely heading towards the fact that I'd like to complement some of my favorite toys by adding in DJI's Mavic Mini 2 as probably the one that I'm kind of leaning towards at the moment, just for sheer size. The Mini 2 would pack down probably as small as what some of my other stuff does. So I'm kind of heading along those lines at the moment. So thank you for your questions. That made it quite an interesting little exercise to actually sit and process some of those. Well, I think that's all from me this week. I've really enjoyed answering your questions. Remember, you can drop a question anytime, either through my Insta page or on my Facebook page, or even here in the comments on YouTube. Always happy to answer your questions. Well, I hope you have a great week. I'm hoping that something a little bit different will pop up this week. I'm hoping to get into the mall and pick up just a few little trinkets and stuff like that ready so that we can do some Secret Santa stuff. I'll leave you with my fireplace and my tree. We'll catch you next time on the K-Word.